My teeth look all right. Am I in the frame good? All right, perfect. What is up, everybody? It's the Midnight Chronicler, bringing to you tonight from the opposite side of the table my favorite book of the year so far. I thought this would be appropriate to talk about, guys, since we are halfway or more than halfway through the year at this point, and I coincidentally just got done reading
the best book of the year
so far. At least for me, it is. It's my favorite. Unfortunately, it's not a Goosebump book, although I probably will point out a Goosebump book that is my Goosebump book of the year so far as well, so stay tuned for that. But I want to give you guys 7 reasons tonight why The Lies of Locke Lamora is my book of the year so far. Now, there's a lot more to get to until December 2023, even though we all know time will probably go by like that. And, before we know it, I'll be at maybe 201 subscribers by that point. This book is incredible, guys. There are so many reasons to get lost in this tale. The story basically follows a group of bandits, a group of thieves, right? Their leader is Locke Lamora, who is the title character here. He is the brains of their operation, and he is followed closely by his companions, Jean, as well as the twins, Callow and Galdo, and then their kind of younger runt sibling, Bug. It is a fabulous, fabulous brotherhood story. They get along great. The band of heroes that we follow here are super likable. They are insanely funny. I found myself laughing out loud several times in this book. I liken this book to The Goonies meets Pirates of the Caribbean meets maybe like One Piece or something like that. Although I will say it is an adult fantasy book. There is a lot of cursing and there's a lot of kind of brutal death scenes and things like that. No spoiler here, by the way, but I will kind of go over some of the things that I thought were fantastic in this book, and the characters stand out the most for sure. This is also the book that I found myself flipping through the fastest out of any book I read. And actually, if you'll notice, the pages are pretty stacked. This is kind of a smaller paperback here. This is about 700 pages. But, man, throughout this entire book, guys, I didn't even notice the page count. I was just flipping through like there is no tomorrow. There's so much good stuff to get to. No chapter is wasted. There's something interesting happening all the time. Even in a book that I think is great, there's obviously some sections that, or maybe chapters even, that you guys think, yeah, that's maybe dragging on a little bit too long. I never found that in this book. This book also, it gets started right away. You are dropped in the middle of a heist with this band of characters right off the get-go. And every character has their own role in the heist, which is super, super cool to see. They're basically, I'll spoil the very, very beginning. At the very beginning, they're faking basically a robbery. One of them is pretending to be robbed, and the other ones are kind of around, like beating him up, pretending to beat him up. And it's so cool to see the process. They're actually staging it so that they can capture the attention of a very wealthy patron, and they're trying to capture his attention so that they can befriend him and ultimately try to take over his fortune, or at least scam him out of a lot of his money. It is so cool. And I've never read a heist book before either, so this was a fantastic introduction to books like that. I mentioned, guys, it is fast-paced. It's a pirate world, and that's pretty awesome, I'd say. There are kind of fantastical creatures. There is a little bit of magic in the book, but not a ton. Like, this isn't like Lord of the Rings or something like that. It's more of like, yeah, it's just a pirate book mixed with like a drop of fantasy, but it's mostly just a awesome character study of these younger kids that interact with each other, and they have to pull off these incredible, incredible feats to enrich themselves and keep their livelihood going. And there's a lot of trust that has to happen there, and you believe it all the way. You also, outside the group, you never know who they can trust. There are things that happen in this book that are actually fake outs, and they're really convincing and really awesome fake outs. And you're reading it, and you're just like, oh my God, that's what's going on? Yeah, that happens several times in this book, so much that you tend to not really trust what you read sometimes, which I'd never experienced that before until The Lies of Locke Lamora. I picked this book up because I heard a lot of noise around this book. People really enjoyed it. And I thought, a heist book, following thieves, I don't know if it'll be for me. But I just had a feeling one day that, you know what, maybe I should pick it up and try it, because you never know. And man, I am so glad that I did that. This is the surprise of the year for me. This is the best book of the year so far. Please pick this book up. This is a story about family, friendship, justice, revenge, and it's all told from the perspective of an endearing brotherhood of outcasts. This book is so close to perfection for me. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. The only thing I would say is toward the end of the book, there was a part that happened that I kind of felt, okay, that's where this book should end. And it kind of kept going. What ended up happening beyond that point was not bad, but I also thought, nah, the book maybe should have ended here, or maybe that shouldn't have happened. But that's more of an author choice. But I am also wasn't a huge fan of that particular section of the book. But still, the entire thing flew. This feels like a complete story. There is a few sequels to this book. Book 2 is called Red Seas Under Red Skies, and I have to read that one. Actually, I have not gotten to it yet. I'm going to take a small break from the series, but I almost wish that this was a standalone because by itself it is nearly perfect. And yeah, so guys, that is it. It is an awesome book. Really shocked me. Really enjoyed it. That is it. That is the Midnight Chroniclers book of the year so far. Talk to you soon.